All right, folks, welcome back. This is Study Guide Traffic Stops. This is Section 2, Unit 1, Unknown Risk Traffic Stops. List the benefits of traffic enforcement. The primary goal of traffic enforcement is to promote driver education and safer roadways. Through regular traffic stops and enforcement actions, officers help reduce traffic crashes, prevent injuries and fatalities, increase roadway compliance, uncover criminal activity, and provide assistance to motorists in need. Describe how to interact with persons involved in a traffic stop to encourage cooperation. To decrease tension and encourage cooperation during a traffic stop, officers should exercise procedural justice and maintain professionalism at all times. The officer should greet the driver and passengers politely, introduce themselves and their agency, and explain the reason for the stop in terms of what the vehicle did rather than accusing the driver personally. Officers should allow the driver the opportunity to speak or vent, remain polite, calm, and focused, and maintain a non-confrontational interview stance while keeping officer safety in mind. Using words that convey professionalism and respect establishes a positive command presence. If the driver argues, the officer should respond politely by re-explaining their observations without engaging in a lecture. Emphasizing the importance of safety and the seriousness of the violation helps the driver understand the enforcement action. Officers should keep the detention time as short as possible. Courteously provide their rank, name, and badge number upon request, and conclude the interaction politely by thanking the individual for their cooperation or wishing them a safe drive. Describe how to bridge communication and language barriers. When language or communication barriers exist, officers should employ procedural justice strategies by treating people with respect, listening carefully, making fair decisions, and explaining actions clearly. If a driver speaks a language other than English, the officer should assess their ability to understand and request an interpreter through dispatch. If an interpreter is unavailable, officers should attempt to communicate through gestures and adhere to agency policy regarding translation phone applications, or using a passenger as an interpreter. For drivers with hearing impairments, writing notes back and forth is an effective method of communication. If an officer cannot address all of a driver's questions, they should refer the individual to the appropriate departmental personnel. Describe circumstances that justify making a lawful traffic stop. A lawful traffic stop is justified when an officer observes a traffic infraction, has reasonable suspicion that an occupant has committed or is about to commit a crime, or possesses probable cause. Justifications also include investigating suspicious behavior, responding to a BLE, otherwise known as be on the lookout, notification matching a vehicle or occupant, or stopping a vehicle to render assistance to a motorist experiencing mechanical trouble. Describe how to follow the driver until it is safe to make a traffic stop. When following a vehicle prior to initiating a stop, the officer must use defensive driving techniques to catch up safely, maintain a safe trailing distance, and signal all lane changes to minimize any disruption to traffic flow. The officer must continuously observe the vehicle from the moment of the violation, noting details such as vehicle make, model, year, color, license plate, and issuing state, overall condition, and unique descriptors like decals or damage. The officer should observe the driver and passengers for distinguishing features such as hats, glasses, hair, or facial hair, and consider requesting backup depending on agency policy and situation assessment. Listing information to provide to dispatch during an unknown risk traffic stop. Before initiating an unknown risk traffic stop, The officer must notify dispatch of their radio identification number. Precise location, including street name, cross street, house number, or mile marker, general direction of travel, a complete vehicle description, including color, make, and approximate year, the license plate number, and state of issuance, the number of occupants with descriptions where possible, and any immediate request for backup or assistance. Describe how to select a safe location for an unknown risk traffic stop. To select a safe stop location, the officer should choose an area with low traffic volume, ample roadway width or shoulder space, level ground or a slight downgrade, and good lighting. Officers must consider overall traffic flow, avoiding hazardous areas such as merge lanes, intersections, acceleration lanes, blind curves, hill crests, ramps, bridges, or construction zones. Special care must be taken in areas with heavy pedestrian traffic or children, such as school zones and parking lots. Describe when to activate the patrol vehicle's emergency equipment. Emergency notification equipment, including flashing emergency lights, siren, high beams, spotlight, takedown lights, horn, and PA system, should be activated once the officer is in a safe location directly behind the subject vehicle to signal the driver to pull over. If the driver does not acknowledge the lights, the officer may tap the siren for 1 or 2 seconds. Flashers and emergency lighting must remain active throughout the stop to warn oncoming traffic, and headlights, spotlights, or takedown lights can be used at night to illuminate the vehicle interior and conceal the officer. Determine how to park the patrol vehicle safely after the driver stops. After the driver pulls over, the officer should park the patrol vehicle approximately 1.5 to 2 car lengths behind the subject vehicle. If the stop occurs on the right shoulder, the officer positions the vehicle in an offset angle position, aligning the hood's center with the driver's left taillight and angling the nose outward into traffic with wheels turned away from traffic. On the left shoulder, the vehicle is angled similarly to project into the flow on that side. If forced to stop in a driving lane, the officer positions the patrol vehicle far to the outside of the lane in an offset angle. Describe how the backup officer should park their patrol vehicle. The backup officer should park their patrol vehicle a safe distance behind the primary officer's vehicle, offsetting to the left or right based on traffic and safety conditions, to prevent blinding or silhouetting the primary officer. The backup officer should turn off forward-facing emergency lights and use only rear emergency lights. When approaching on foot, the backup officer should walk along the passenger side of the primary patrol vehicle to avoid crossfire and traffic hazards. Describe how to visually assess the vehicle, driver, and passengers for officer safety. Before exiting the patrol vehicle, the officer must visually assess the subject vehicle and its occupants from inside the patrol car. The officer scans for suspicious movements, signs of criminal activity, or evidence that the vehicle is carrying heavy contraband, drugs, or a person, such as the rear end riding significantly lower than the front. If occupants attempt to exit, the officer assesses the threats and orders them back inside if necessary. Describe how to safely exit the patrol vehicle. To safely exit the patrol vehicle, the officer checks rear view and side mirrors for oncoming traffic, opens the door, and exits quickly and quietly. The officer secures the door silently so it does not slam or swing into traffic, lowers the portable radio volume, maintains continuous visual observation of the vehicle and occupants, and remains prepared to transition to high-risk procedures if a threat is identified.